and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the latest episode of Last Minute Kickout, and here's your host, Pete Nevercode!
Hi. How you doing? Was that the intro?
No, I just...
Cool. Brilliant.
That was the sum of my energy reserve, so...
Fair enough.
Enjoy.
Ladies... Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Last Minute Kickout. I am Pete Titans Creed Netherco, as always, joined by my cohorts in crime, the one, the only, Mr. Kevin, the Kevin Eva.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, it is you. You're there. How are you doing?
I'm good. I think I'm on yet another different part of the screen.
Discord
keeps moving us about last few shows.
And speaking of different parts of the screen, he's got a different house altogether. It's Mr. John Turbo Finley.
Yeah, I never thought that Money in the Bank contract would actually pay for all this.
He cashed in big.
He cashed in the contract instead of taking back his title belt from Kev. He got a new house altogether. Sounds like a good, one-up.
It's like a perfect upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, and we are here talking about the latest WWE pay-per-view, SummerSlam 2018.
Part the first.
Yes, part the first, because as usual from one of the big four, it is a large bastard of a show. I think it totaled in at about 6 hours, including the pre-show.
I think it was about
yeah.
Something like that. It was good. It was long. But yes, thank you very much for if you're watching us on the Last Minute Continue YouTube channel, or if you're listening to us on the iTunes podcast link thing. It exists. Kev handles it. We come here, record. Kev deals with everything. It's good. It's fantastic. It's brilliant.
And we love him for it.
We do. He's a king among men. Yes, we will start with the pre-show. I think Mr. Kevin has missed most of this, so I think this will be mostly me and John.
I kind of skipped it as well.
It'll be just me talking about the pre-show. In that case, we'll skip over it pretty fast. Rusev and Lana versus Andrade, Cien Almas, and Zelina Vega in mixed tag match. Decent match. Almas won for some bizarre reason. For fucking, I don't know. It was weird. It was, I don't know.
He won. He won via Creative has something for him.
Well, I don't know. Creative's working on the Rusev line angle more, so I don't know why that's.
They want to push Almas. So.
Well, we went from Rusev going for the WWE Championship to pre-show mixed tag.
I mean, here's the thing. Almas has the caliber to go straight to main event on SmackDown, and I think
that's true.
I think he could feud very well at the top tier of things and not mid-card it. But I think they're trying to gauge fan reaction right now to see how he does. As far as I'm aware, he wasn't super over in NXT, but that would be something you'd know more than I would, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good match.
Yeah,
for the most part.
It's just you just said there crowd reaction. It's like it would help if the majority of the crowd was there to actually give a reaction, because during that match it was quite dead.
I mean, for a 2-hour pre-show, the point is to put something on in the ring so that people have something to watch instead of sitting there for 2 hours with nothing. So, but yeah, they're obviously trying to push Almas for that, while Rusev will forever be over right now. I don't think anything could go wrong really for Rusev. It was just Lana and Vega are just not the most entertaining people to watch wrestle at the moment.
Now they're still a bit green. So.
Yeah, it's a bit shit. I'm gonna skip completely over the cruiserweight title match, quite frankly, because it was boring to watch. I mean, it's definitely come a long way in terms of the actual match from where we were with cruiserweights, where it was just, they'll turn up and they're done. I really don't watch nearly enough 205 Live, and I heard the products got a lot better. So I do not know.
I just want Rockstar Spud to wrestle. or Drake Maverick as he is now. I just want him to wrestle.
Yeah.
It's lovely they've given him this relatively big role as the GM, but I'd much prefer him as a wrestler.
So
Did he ever retire from?
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask. Did he ever retire from in-ring action?
No, they hired him, and it was one of these ones where somebody up top liked his probably his presentation outside of the ring more than his presentation inside the ring, and so he's got that way. So he's got to the big leagues, and he's no longer a wrestler. And I don't get that, but anyway, is Alexander still champ? Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Okay. So eventually he'll leave, and there'll be a contract dispute, or he'll be fired, or whatever happens to cruiserweight champions, and it'll move on to the next one.
I'm eagerly awaiting vacant.
Who is next? Yeah.
Who is next? Next was the B Team, defending their tag team championships against the Revival. I said it before, I don't like the B Team's new tag song, but it seems to be getting over with the crowd.
It's one of those kind of like catchy, kind of like repeat this ad nauseum, and
it just reminds me too much of the Spirit Squad, and that was horrible.
A few people have said that it's a little bit too Spirit Squad-y, but again, I think that might be what they're going for.
Unlike the Spirit Squad, it doesn't have catchy lyrics.
Wait, so which one of the two of them is going to become Dolph Ziggler?
I'm going to say
hopefully it's going to be Bo Dallas.
No, I said no, Bo.
Oh, Bo! I thought you said both. I thought that was going to be fantastic. It's going to be Bo on top of Axel's shoulders, the big trench coat, bleach blonde.
I mean,
that's going to be
I think the only way Curtis Axel is going to be put into any sort of main event picture is if he Jinder Mahals it, is what I think will happen.
Well, go away for 2 years.
Go away, away, come back and be a monster. And I think.
Well, it's the same for Drew McIntyre as well. He went away for a couple of years, came back as a monster, and then he's currently
Drew is so over. It's lovely.
Yeah,
people just want to see Drew beat the crap out of people. That's exactly what we should do.
Shall we get to the main card?
Let's just throw the pre-show away.
Because B Team still tag champs. Who cares?
Woo.
Okay, so we actually opened with a really high caliber match, having main evented the last pay-per-view. They now go to opening the next one with Dolph Ziggler, accompanied by Mr. Drew McIntyre, defending the championship against Seth Rollins, accompanied by Mr. Ambrose.
A returning Mr. Ambrose. A returning...
And
oh my God, he has worked out quite a lot in his downtime.
It's interesting for someone returning of his caliber to be just an accompaniment in the match rather than having a match himself to win. It's an odd play. Now, obviously, for anybody who's watched the Raw after SummerSlam, we know why they've done it this way. I have a sneaking suspicion that Ambrose isn't fully healed and they wanted to bring him back specifically for the storyline.
It wouldn't surprise, considering he was supposed to be out for even longer. Because he was delayed. Well, he was going to come back, but it was delayed, and now he's come back irrespective of the delay. So that might.
Yeah, I think his healing time was about between 6 to 8 months, and he got injured at the start of the year. Essentially, so...
Yeah, but then they said it was all said about how actually it had a really big setback and he'd re-injured himself or something, or he'd done damage to the surgery.
It was bizarre. It was a really good match.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think it was of the. I didn't think it was of the quality that we'd seen previously. At the previous pay-per-view, which was a gigantic shame because I was really looking forward to another caliber match. It was still better than most show openings that they've had recently, so that was interesting at the very least.
I mean, come on, you gotta give it to Seth for trying to innovate the suplex Falcon Arrow combination
the
by doing an inverted version.
Inverted suplex in rolling through into inverted Falcon Arrow. It was just amazing. Everyone went nuts.
Yeah. So, he's trying his best to, shake it up a little bit, and you can't expect them to have the same kind of like caliber of match, night in and night out, or month in and month out. But the
problem is that because they've been wrestling, I believe, on Raw, it throws off a lot of the things. If they're going to do it, then they should just be brawling, and then leaving the big caliber matches for the big shows. That's what it is, and then it'll be like, I don't know. I think it's just the way that they're doing the presentation of this overall. I don't think it just works properly for what they've aimed to do, and for them both being at ringside, they really didn't get involved in the match and like tussle or anything until the very end, which seemed a little bit off as well.
But I liked that because it was one of those times where it was the threat was there throughout, and it was only when you'd forgotten about the threat, because the initially the focus was on them with Rollins dipping out dipping out through the ropes and sort of breaking the ring, but he sort of did so where Drew was, and then Rollins was like huh? Because Drew was standing there, and then Ambrose came over and got in Drew's face, and Drew was like, "What?" He was just like, "I just stood here." Ambrose comes all the way around the ring, just like that. Like, "Are you interfering?" And he's just like, "I'm standing where I was standing from the beginning."
I did like the point where McIntyre took off the jacket and went, do something.
Yeah, I was just like, go then. What are you going to
do? Done like a proper Scotsman would be like, you want to start something? Come on.
Yeah. The threat of the both of them outside the ring was very good, and it was treated. Actually, there was a weird thing during the opening, actually. Which I didn't think made much sense at all. Well, first of all, apparently absence makes the heart grow fonder where Ambrose is concerned, because I swear he's got a bigger pop than he ever has had. Oh, he's not done anything apart from come back and being slightly more muscular. That's all he's done, and he's come out with a bigger scowl on his face than usual. But the weird thing was that when it came for Ziggler to come out, Ziggler came out first with his stuff. Then Drew came out. Then they both went to the ring under Drew's music. Did all the ring pose up under Drew's music. Mm-hmm. It was like, who's the Intercontinental Champion here exactly?
I think it's more to do with the fact with how Ziggler's music works, rather than anything else. I think that's why they did it in that fashion. Because they don't want to make like. I think the idea is that they don't want Ziggler's music to be cutting off McIntyre, while they want McIntyre to be the guy that's. Yeah,
that is a very good point. But unfortunately, the upshot was that, ladies and gentlemen, your star of the evening, Drew McIntyre, is here. I'm all for that. Yeah, there was some good stuff. There was some awkward stuff. Oh, if you ever want to do, guys, wrestlers, if you ever want to do a rest hold, great example was like the bridging headlock that was on at one point.
Yeah.
Which was like, okay, this is clearly doing damage, but actually they're just resisting a rest hold. It looked like it was a rest hold, but it looked meaningful and stuff was going on. So that was good. Yeah, there was all sorts. If you're using the VR as well, when it comes out, the next VR stuff, you'll enjoy this match, because at one point, all you'll have is a big view of Seth Rollins' ass. Because there was this big sequence on top of the top rope on the corner. And it was just the post where the next VR camera was. So Rollins literally had his arse in the camera for about 30 seconds to a minute. So enjoy that. Immersive, straight up his asshole. Go on.
I call that the Yokozuna spot. Or the Rikishi spot, depending on your favorite generation.
It's, but yeah, there's some good stuff. Rollins did a, Rollins got elevated over the top rope, I think, after just sprinted towards Ziggler. Ziggler sort of lifted him over the top and he ended up going face first into the barrier. At one point, that was a bit awkward. And apparently, a sling blade is now just a twisting push in the chest. That's what the sling blade is now.
Again, just Seth, leave it to the professionals.
It really was. It was just he ran up to Ziggler and just sort of went, pushed him in the chest and then spun away. It's like sling blade. Shite is what it was. Shite stick, more like. Any good moments for you, John?
No, I mean, other than the inverted spot that I mentioned earlier, the kind of like when things heated up for the finish and whatnot with between Dolph and Seth, and then Drew and Dean at the outside. I overall I did actually enjoy the match, and it was nice to have Seth win the title back from Ziggler, whatnot. And it was just it was raising the question, well, he's got the title again, what's this gonna happen now? What's this gonna lead to? And of course we would find out later on Monday Night Raw.
Indeed.
Anything else from you, Pete?
I just enjoyed the match in general. I was mostly fucking tired at the point where it was coming on already, so it's fine. I was kind of just watching it in a daze, I'll be honest with you, but it was enjoyable to watch, and it's amazing to open with.
It was definitely one of the best openers for a SummerSlam. So much so that a certain YouTube channel rated it quite highly in their latest top 10.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
People still
is it
do
us?
top tens?
Yeah, it's all that they do now. That and diss tracks. That's all YouTube is now.
Oh.
Top 10s and diss tracks. Can we just go back to... I think I've mentioned this before, how Seth Rollins is really dumb.
What, you mean the fact that he was repping the Infinity Gauntlet and didn't just wipe?
I think that's what everyone was waiting for him, just to snap his fingers, and for Drew just to sort of just go, I'm not feeling well, and then just wave away. But it's like, oh, I've hurt my knee, because we always work on the knee now because he's hurt. Yeah. So naturally, if you've got your knee all screwed up, what you're gonna do? Use the ripcord knee. Using that knee, and lo and behold, he hurt himself more. Well, there's a shock. Well done, genius. All those moves in your repertoire.
I want.
Which knee is this again? Is it right? His right or left?
I think it's his right knee as well.
It's the right one. It was the one in the yellow.
Right-handed, right?
You've said ripcord knee now, and all I can imagine in my head is that he's got this little cord
his
around his
patella,
knee, and at one point he's just going to take it off and just Beyblade it over. It's going to Beyblade it in the ring.
It's going to tell you something out of Metal Gear Solid.
It's not even as high quality as that. Literally, he's going to Beyblade his knee.
Even better, it turns out after all this time that Seth Rollins is the son of Wild Dog from Time Crisis. Except that instead of an arm for machine gun, he takes off his leg and there's a saw. That's what it's going to be.
And I think with that...
God, if he turns into Durga from Anarchy Reigns, Jesus Christ.
No.
Speaking of video games, to a team that were repping video games at their match, the New Day, the Bludgeon Brothers.
And of course, they were all there dressed up as characters from Frogger. It was very good of them to do so.
And not a splash of green on them either.
No, are you sure? Are you sure about that? I thought they were quite the triple threat, or the triple trouble of this match.
It was it was well chosen. I think, considering it was it was a nice little nod.
I was gonna say, thankfully, a certain company wasn't, getting their lawyers ready and. No!
It was.
They sue them for all the.
Remember, they like.
Oh yeah, I know how buddy especially Xavier Woods is with a certain managerial person from this House of a Blue Hedgehog.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they just work together.
Habanero peppers aside.
Oh yes, of course.
But anyway,
I've completely lost track of what we're talking about.
We're talking about.
Don't worry, the rest of the audience doesn't know either.
We're talking about how the Bellas were there, and it was good to see Brie, and Nikki can fuck right off.
Was it? I was done with seeing both of them when they left the last time.
They appeared because they're back.
The Divas, we're done with that Divas thing. Let's just slide them off and keep this about the women's stuff rather than people who want to make the women's stuff about themselves.
One thing from the women then, which was immediately before the Bellas, was actually a very, very nicely done WWE 2K advert for the Ronda Rousey DLC.
Oh, that one.
Using Piper's jacket, and they played the audio of Roddy sort of endorsing her and sort of giving her his blessings to use the Rowdy name and stuff. I know.
Yeah, that's been something that they've been showcasing a couple of times, and it's really nice.
It's a really nice package. That was really. In fact, in terms of like quality content per the time, it's probably one of the best things on the show. But yes, Brooklyn, don't you dare be sour. Clap for people who weren't going to win this match and feel that one of them's going to get injured during it.
Well, not any of the three men team.
It's a singles push for Harper. Yes, it is.
It's an injury waiting in the wings for one of them. Wasn't it Harper that got injured?
No, it was Rowan.
No, it was Rowan.
Rowan that got injured. Oh, of course.
Which means Harper gets to do his holding fire while they don't know what to do with him for another year.
Well, have you seen Raw yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Then I won't speak about what is rumored to be happening now. Yeah, I know it's hard. But yes. It was an okay match, pretty hard to follow up with the Intercontinental title, unfortunately, and ended the way it did.
It was quite one-sided, obviously, for it, and it was kind of it. I mean, granted, the tag division in both sides has been negated into quite the ditch, essentially, in terms of like promotion and overall kind of like hype, but no, I mean fair dues to the New Day still going at it. I mean, this is what now, them still being together for the last 3-4 years now,
longer than that,
and they're still together.
They'll be together until I think they're one of the few.
Because normally if a faction would break up, after 2 years.
I think it's because they're more in charge of their own brand and they've been allowed to run free with it. But I think it's the same sort of contract that Hardy's under, where Hardy has creative control over his character, and I think the New Day have creative control over their brand.
Some of it certainly.
Yeah, I mean the creative direction of the storylines, that's WWE, but I think them sticking together is a choice by them.
The only reason they were split up would be that it would give Kofi a world championship run,
or Big E,
but probably more Kofi.
Yeah, probably.
That's
As I've said numerous times before, I think they could quite easily do where one of them go for a championship push, and they don't need to break up the team.
Wouldn't it be lovely?
I mean, it would be, because they could do it in a face or heel light, and workers just like commentators at the match, cheermen, and they just do it in the standard New Day fashion. You know, it could work. It could work very easily. But whether they pull the trigger on that's WWE's decision. And unfortunately, they're not willing to put any other tag teams in the spotlight right now, which is disappointing.
So, in terms of New Day, we had, in terms of our picks, we had Big E and we had Xavier Woods. And for some reason, everyone was Graves was like asking if Xavier Woods was in it because he's more expendable than Kofi. It was like, have you not watched the previous,
I was going to say
pay-per-views from last year, where the entire story has been he's actually this massive hard ass.
Yeah, I was going to say Xavier Woods has been quite the fighter. And whatnot.
That's his role.
I'm surprised people just forget that and whatnot, but hey.
Corey bloody Graves was awful all the way through the damn thing.
Corey Graves has been on a downward spiral with how he's been acting recently, and I think a large part of that is more, in fact, to how, not so much how well he knows he is within the company, because obviously Paul Heyman has had a big word with saying how good Corey Graves was doing, but also being on at minimum of 2 brands, as well as hosting WWE network shows, is obviously a lot of work to do. There's a lot of strain, and eventually this is how you burn out. I mean, it's why we got sick of Michael Cole, because he was everywhere.
Michael Cole had to be everywhere. And was using everything, and that was one of the reasons why. And in the end, frankly, Cole was a bit sort of ground down by having abuse in his ear for the best part of 20 years.
Exactly. So, I mean, Graves is in that position right now, and it's unfortunately it's just been declining.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, we had Saxton actually, who reminded us.
Saxton was a highlight throughout the evening. I was not unhappy with Saxton at SummerSlam.
Saxton used the power of continuity to remind everybody that, hey, remember when it was the Usos versus New Day, and then the Bludgeon Brothers came down and beat the crap out of all of them and left them laying, and the one who was stretched off was Xavier Woods? It's personal for Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, he wants in. But Unsurprisingly. But we had some great stuff.
Yeah.
We had some great stuff in this.
But for this match, it was, not the New Day's night, as the Bludgeon Brothers would retain their titles. But as evident
through shady
by
disqualificational means.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. I mean,
I think it's I think it's annoying because of the injuries happen, because it's obviously spoilers. It's led to a title change on Raw, SmackDown even.
SmackDown. Yeah.
But it was obviously going to lead into a Hell in a Cell no disqualification match, and they were going to hopefully pull something off. Maybe not as good as their match with the Usos last year, but it might have been amazing, pretty decent.
It would have been something.
Yes. It was alright in its own right, just not fantastically brilliant. But
no,
I mean, we'll go from one point that's not fantastically brilliant to one thing that was just a fucking waste of time, and that was Braun Strowman just making a jobber out of Kevin Owens.
I was disappointed with this.
Oh, this match had so much potential to be better than what it was.
It was building up to this whole mechanic of Kevin Owens doing his bit to get under Strowman's skin by making the match, if he can lose the briefcase if he got disqualified or counted out and whatnot, this, that, and the next thing, and then it just leads to Braun Strowman just fucking squashing Kevin in brutal fashion, mind you, as well. And I was expecting Braun to win. I can understand that. I can take the fact that he was gonna win, fine. But a little more but in a better fashion than just Braun just steamrolling Kevin Owens, because this is exactly Kevin Owens versus Goldberg for the Universal title. It was like boom, 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 done. It's like you can't throw away a talent like that.
I was really hoping they were going to pull a trigger on Kevin Owens as the Universal Championship again. Following Raw, and we'll talk about it later when we get to the main event as well. It's disappointing why they've done the storyline they've done, but I can completely understand why they've done it, and I can obviously see the roadmap for up until Hell in a Cell for what they're going to do, which is disappointing that it's that telegraphed. But what are you going to do, eh?
Yeah.
If you have not seen the match, this is the entirety of the match. Braun straight in with 2 avalanche splashes in the corner. Owens bails, but Braun mows him. He doesn't mow him down, he mows him up somehow. Lifts him up into the air, and so he lands like back first on the top of the guardrail. Owens goes around to the other side of the ring by the announce desks. So Braun mows him down again with another shoulder charge and turns Owens inside out. Goes around to the other side of the ring. Owens manages to get his one offensive move in from the entire match, which is a super kick, which does nothing. Which just irks Strowman. So he choke slams him without much protection. Choke slams him on the metal bit at the end of the ramp. Rolled in, running power slam, 3 count. Thanks for coming. It was nice of you to have that, custom get up on your gear there, Kevin. That's
I know. He had that great gear on.
Yeah, that was a really nice gear. Guess what? Not going to be able to use it anymore.
No, he'll use it again for the next Money in the Bank.
Maybe.
If he does, if he's that.
Anyway, and that was that. That was that. Braun, get these hands, Braun.
Yeah.
Braun, sleep now.
Yeah, there's not really a lot to say about this match. It was over in a flash. Hopefully it means better things for Kevin Owens in the future. Maybe, I don't know what the direction they'll push him in. He might have a couple of weeks off because there's not going to be anything he's going to be doing with Braun.
No.
If you watch the rest of SummerSlam, which we'll get to later, if you've watched Raw, you'll know what we're talking about. He won't be doing anything with the Intercontinental title because Rollins and Ziggler are going to be fucking fighting over that for the rest of eternity. They're not going to put him in a tag match at the moment, I believe. So there's nothing that he's going to do.
But not without Zayn, because Zayn was the perfect partner.
There is nothing I can foresee that Kevin Owens is going to do legitimately on Raw at this point for the near future, at least until the Intercontinental belt rivalry frees up. I can't see anything else happening.
He might appear on NXT again. He was there at TakeOver. He was in the crowd and just enjoying himself.
I think he turns up at every TakeOver, to be fair.
Yeah, because he likes.
Yes,
he's good friends with the
lots of the people there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he's a pretty good someone you'd probably want around the performance center if he's not too busy. Tell people about how to make the leap.
Indeed. We'll move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship, which I think is a pretty match.
Oh.
Carmella versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Kevin, you look like you've got words to say. Take it away, Kev.
It's a Charlotte Flair match. My favourite. So, again, this is one of those fantastic fantastic things where WWE completely fails to read the room. It's like, it's big. Oh, yes, this is going to be finally Becky's time. It's like, okay, then, you know, or it's not going to be Becky's time. It's going to be Charlotte's time, and there's going to, you know, because she's never had her time before. It's going to be Charlotte's time, and nefarious means, and they're going to pull the trigger on Charlotte being a heel because she's far better as a heel. And nobody really wants to cheer her. They're much happier being booing her. So naturally enough, it's a case. I mean, I'm not even mentioning Carmella because no one cares. But there was some good ideas in this match.
I think the biggest problem with this match in its conception is that it's there to tell a story specifically. And unfortunately, the story doesn't contain Carmella, except for the fact that the belt needs to move hands, because we're looking at building the roster and the card for Evolution. And billing the card for Evolution with Carmella as the champion doesn't work.
No.
It just doesn't.
No, it was the same when our Survivor Series champion versus champion match was Brock Lesnar versus Jinder fucking Mahal at one point, so they had to switch the title to AJ Styles.
Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal. What's Jinder Mahal doing in there with that awful part-timer?
But the other problem with this match is that the wrestling in the ring was completely different whenever you saw Charlotte and Becky go at it compared to anyone with Carmella.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Also, it was bad. It was really bad at points.
It wasn't that great. I'll definitely agree. And I can now understand why you disdain, Charlotte so many times now, Kev, because if you look at it and you go and you take away the woo, and if you actually look at it, you go if you take away her moonsault spot, it's like
which she nearly fucked up completely.
You mean like every single
doing this corkscrew to it?
Yeah, she's got like a twisting. She's got a twisting corkscrew moonsault. Which
haven't they given it a fucking name now of a Phoenix something or other?
Phoenix Salt?
Let's call it a Phoenix Splash as well. I don't care anymore. Everything's a fucking Phoenix Splash at the moment from the top rope. If it's not a Spanish fly, it's a Phoenix Splash. So we'll just call it that.
You mean like how every fucking clothesline out of the corner seems to be an Uranagi these days?
Everything's an Uranagi. Yeah. We went for a period with like a lot of clotheslines becoming lariats again. Now we've moved away from that. And now Uranagis are back in fashion.
Everybody's doing super kicks still.
Super kicks everywhere. But anyway, so the idea was there. The idea was there for this being a good match of Carmella, just being this wedge that drives the two apart.
Yeah.
And the little sort of like slap to the back of the head, then like threw herself under the bottom rope to make it look like Charlotte had actually slapped Becky on the back of the head. That was a good idea, and they played off of it and stuff. There was a sequence where Charlotte and one of Charlotte and Becky's first things was a sequence where sort of Becky like bridged up, sort of like matrixed out of the pinfall. Charlotte went down for that pinfall like so slowly and was barely like. It was like she tried to do a press up over Becky as opposed to pinfalling her. So unsurprised, there was plenty of room for her to do that.
I mean, here's the thing. The end of this fucking match should have gone the other way.
Yes.
We all know that. But I wouldn't be against the idea of heel Charlotte Flair doing the whole fucking Scott Steiner shtick of doing the fucking press ups in the ring and everything
Yeah,
else.
why not?
That fucking shit would be
that
funny.
works with her character because she's genetically superior. So that would work well for that. Her character is arrogance. It's arrogance and superiority, which is not a fucking face trait.
Nope.
Yeah,
it is.
It's like the only reason why we like Flair, as in Ric Flair now, is that he's a retired veteran. We commend him for all that he's done and whatnot. It's not because we liked him as that, character that he portrayed for the majority of his goddamn career. No, it's like we just respect we respect the name of Flair, but we can't have Charlotte Flair have the same kind of characteristics as her father. And
we'll just give her the same everything else. So anyway, there was kicks missed by Charlotte and Becky, and Charlotte continues to use that really shit spear. Please stop. Looks awful. I'm
surprised Edge hasn't complained about it more.
Carmella tried to kill herself by doing a suicide dive through the second and third rope, as opposed to the first. She did a low dive, a low suicide dive, nearly face planted the floor. Charlotte did her corkscrew moonsault off the top, hit fucking nothing.
Landed on her feet.
She always lands on the feet, which is, good, because she's got that background that she can do that. And it's like, oh, you wouldn't be able to do that. Of course I fucking couldn't. But the point is, if I did it, at least I might hit somebody with it. It just landed. She landed between them, and there's like a flailing arm caught one of them. That was it. It was really bad. The ending was nice. I quite liked with the ending sequence where it was like, oh, Becky's gonna get, and then out of nowhere, natural selection, and then 3 count. Boos, which were there, and then the music faded. The music faded out, and you could hear them a lot more. Big old Becky chant. They hug, boos. They hug again, boos.
I'm not unhappy with heel Becky. I think heel Becky could work very well.
It just ruins the whole workup of what
if they were gonna, I'm not even against Charlotte having the belt, but Charlotte should have done the heel turn because she's shit as a face.
Yeah, and plus
fucking garbage.
Basically, we're in agreement that Becky did the right thing because, well, it's like
Brooklyn was in agreement, certainly.
Yeah.
But yeah, another hug. Becky then proceeds to slap the piss out of Charlotte. The roof comes off the place.
Mm-hmm.
Starts beating the shit out of her. There are chants for Becky. There's massive applause.
Because that's exactly what you want on your heel. When they beat the shit out of someone, is for everybody to cheer like fuck.
It was the same thing that we had when Bayley finally snapped on Sasha. Actually, we know we know. Yes. There's a case of somebody going, no, screw you, even as a face. And actually just snapping and just giving a good scene which is much deserved. But yeah, she sends Charlotte into the barrier, sends Charlotte over the German announce table, which is now even more dangerous than the Spanish announce table, it feels like. As the entirety of the Brooklyn arena starts chanting, "You deserve it," as Becky walks up the ramp. Becky looks behind, and that's it. As Tom desperately tries to salvage the situation about how Charlotte won her right good and proper. No, Tom, we don't fucking care. We're just happy that Becky actually decided to do something. And her promo since then, the stuff on Twitter, has been great. With her saying about how, why didn't she get the opportunities Was it because she wasn't blonde enough? Was it because she didn't have enough enhancement surgery?
Wow.
And stuff like that. It's really... it's
really hitting the ball there.
Straight fire indeed. But yeah, everyone, as they fade away to "You Deserve It," and Tom doing his best. Oh, this is very serious voice. Don't care, Tom. Sorry. Becky was perfectly right to beat the crap out of her.
Yep. Any last words, Mr. John?
Fuck Charlotte.
Most people
I've converted them all. This is
Yes, you have won me over, Kevin.
excellent.
I can definitely...
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, I just think it was just terrible how Becky Lynch has to be portrayed as the heel now, and it's like, doesn't matter. She's just gotta get cheered for the weeks going forward.
She's going to be the female Kevin Owens for the next indefinite. And we're going to move on to the last match for this part of our SummerSlam chat, which is AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. Now, I've never watched any TNA match with these guys. I've heard a lot of hype that this match is going to be fantastic. And with the exception of the finish, I thought it was fucking brilliant.
Good.
I'll tell you what, if you haven't, hunt down the triple threats between the two of them and Christopher Daniels. It is just amazing, those two. Yeah. But Samoa Joe on the mic.
Best promo in the business right now.
Certainly in WWE. Ever since he did that one with Paul Heyman, and it was off the mic, and it was all, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now. I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And this is a message for you.
Yeah.
Since that one, which was off mic, and it was so powerful. But yeah, oh god, he was in full arsehole mode for this one, and it was wonderful.
He's one of these guys that will always be forever heel. You'll never see him as a face for you.
Not anymore, no. Not anymore.
No. I mean, he had his brief face run in NXT, but since the call up or since his championship win in NXT, he's just been a full-blooded heel onward. So and rightfully so.
I can't imagine any situation where he would be able to effectively pull off a face. He'd be a New Day level of face where he'd be, I'm the good face, but I'll still do what it takes to win.
He was, for the most part, he was more sort of the fighting Samoan. In TNA, he was more like the fighting Samoan, but the fighting champion.
Yeah.
But even then, 50% of the time, he was very much a heel.
Mm-hmm.
There, but yeah, it was great stuff. It was nice to see AJ Styles coming out as 1994 Undertaker. That was very nice of him to do so. But Joe, everything starts with Samoa Joe interrupting the ring announcements to do a special ring introduction for AJ's wife Wendy and their daughter Annie in the audience.
That poor child.
That poor traumatized child.
That poor child at the end of this fucking match is fucking just so disheartening to see.
She's 4 years old. Absolutely adorable. Had a little Phenomenal One t-shirt on, bless her.
It was just the thing at the end of the match where she goes, "Daddy, you're bleeding," and AJ picks her up and she's like, "No."
It's like, "Dad, you're bleeding." It's like my heart at that moment was just like absolutely breaking because AJ was like, "I'm sorry," and then you're right. He goes for the hug, takes her off Wendy, but no, I want Mum.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, AJ.
Poor thing.
Most perfect line delivered by this child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But, some great work in this match.
Oh, yeah. They were on top form for the vast majority of the match. They were not doing anything wrong, really, in all honesty.
we had a very, very loud TNA chant.
Wow, in 2018. Holy shit.
2018, we had an ECW respect level of, in terms of volume, TNA chant at the beginning when they were circling.
I missed that.
It was right at the beginning. It was like, TNA, TNA. They set it up good from the get-go because Mike Chioda was having an absolute hell of a time trying to control them both, which was good. And yeah, it was, and moved on from there. There was some beautiful stuff. AJ Styles did a beautiful drop kick at one point. Bob Holly would have been proud of it. Right on the nose.
I will say this though: the Styles clash with Joe was a bit, it was a bit. It was a bit.
Yeah, but it kind of worked out well because we didn't get the move off entirely.
No.
So that worked out quite well.
Like he only got like one leg over his arm, and then just like, right, okay, I have to drop him, or else I'm gonna drop him in his head. But no, it's like it goes to show you how much the two kind of like work well with each other.
Because they've done because they've done so much. The thing that you can tell is when AJ does his somersault reverse DDT.
Yes. Because
if somebody at AJ doesn't work with that often, it's like there's this like big pause when AJ lands, and then it's that. That was just like smooth move. It's smooth sequence from the somersault into the reverse DDT. So that was really nice. Also, Samoa Joe with the best damn power slam I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, definitely. Aye, Randy Orton. If you thought yours was quick and snappy, it's like, fuck off.
Fuck off.
It's like Samoa Joe's got you beat, and he's twice the size of you.
And AJ looked like he was dead on that. Seriously. Wow.
You can't do it. It's like, he's... granted, Samoa Joe was a little bit... he's been underutilized in, several months and whatnot, and he was out with injury and whatnot. It's good that we finally have him in a prominent role to showcase his ability, and his ability is top form. And of course, just combine that with his promo abilities, whatnot. Dude's gotta be the best heel of this company.
Because he'll never come across like what they've done with Kevin Owens as the cowardly heel.
No. He doesn't. No, he's going to be the one who's going to attack you from behind, who's going to get personal, going to get in your face, and will be a credible physical threat.
Yeah,
and he's going to be there all the time.
He knows how to work the psychology as well. Joe really has that nice psychological edge to his character.
Anything on the match? Anything else you want to talk about on the match?
No, I've covered everything.
Yeah, actually. It was because they set up right at the beginning with AJ going for the kicks to the calf as like a long-term plan to sort of weaken Joe's leg for the calf crusher, which they went into. Joe then grabbed AJ Styles' head and started to smush his brains out on the mat. Oh
yeah, I guess he had a talk with Braun.
About
Brock Lesnar.
About Brock about how to do it. It looks somehow worse with him doing it. But they moved out of that, and it moved into the Coquina clutch. And there was a nice little. I love little details. AJ managed to slip the arm midway through because the Coquina was locked in. AJ slipped the arm. Then Joe adjusted. He changed his position and moved some stuff around, moved his arm back round. So he was trapping the arm in a different way. and was trying to lean him away because AJ was leaning for the ropes with his foot, which was a lovely little element. Also, once they'd gone through like all the moves basically, and there's nothing left, Joe teasing the Muscle Buster.
Yeah, they won't ever let him pull the trigger on that, will they?
No, I think they will. If it's AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, I know AJ Styles will be fighting for the fact that he wants to let him do it to him one time.
I like the idea that it's treated like pile driver in terms of this is just death. After TJ, this is just death. But actually, it went from there into something nice because whilst AJ was on top, he did fight out of the Muscle Buster, but Joe responded by kicking his head off. And then he went straight to the floor. And
I was gonna say the term "dropped like a sack of potatoes" is not good enough for that.
That hurt. That hurt. And it all ended up with AJ finally losing his shit because Joe got on the table and then told Wendy, "I'll be on you, Daddy."
And everyone was like, "Oh."
And it was like, okay, AJ's gonna fucking kill him, and he had a good go. But yeah, Brooklyn was on point with some of its chants. I'll give Brooklyn that. We had the "You Deserve It" for Charlotte, and we had the "Who's Your Daddy" chant after Samoa Joe was getting the shit out of him. But yeah. It was. We have a situation, but in the end, I like how it ended because though it was a disqualification, it was such a good disqualification because AJ's won, but he sort of lost. AJ didn't win; he lost, but he lost in a couple of other ways as well. Joe still got to look like a monster. He marched up the ramp, steaming. You know, he was furious. This isn't over type thing, and yeah. But there was so much good stuff in that match to have a disqualification in this era and to have it be, you know, that satisfying, is quite something.
But it also sits in the path that until WWE 2K19 comes out, AJ will still keep that belt.
This is true. Who's gonna? Okay, it's quick. This is the last match anyway for this part. Okay, who takes the belt from AJ?
I mean, if you look at the SmackDown roster at the moment, I think Samoa Joe is legitimately the only person who can keep it. Here's the other question. Here's the next question. When is 2K19 out?
October something. It's probably October 17th or 26th.
Okay, so like the pay-per-view at that time is Evolution, which means I have a feeling that the pay-per-view after that will be the one that AJ will drop it to Samoa Joe. And then we'll see them feud for a few pay-per-views. That storyline may continue all the way through till WrestleMania, I think, because I don't think there is anybody else on SmackDown at this point who could legitimately feud properly with AJ other than Samoa Joe. And I think they could carry a 9-month feud very well.
I think they could indeed, but I also think that at some point Brian and The Miz get involved in it, and then it sort of it converges. The belt goes maybe to Miz, and then it diverges again, and it goes back to the two separate feuds.
Right, WWE is going to be too frightened to put the belt on Brian,
which is why you give it to Miz.
Give me a fucking Miz championship run. Whoa. Give it to me.
Well, Miz has to win. Miz has to win that feud. Realistically, from a business point of view, Miz really does have to win that feud. But they also need the belt because it would be it's the ultimate comeback story for Brian for a Mania. So. Yeah, give it. So they converge. You also then get Brian and AJ being able to.
I think those four. I think those four could carry a fucking championship rodeo for 9 months. I think you're spot on about that. I think they'll give it to Samoa Joe. I think they'll do it. I think they'll do. I think between now and Mania, we'll see it, and we will. I think you're spot on, and we will see Brian and I think we'll see Brian and the Miz for the belt at Mania. I think that will culminate that feud. That would make
the most sense because it's them Brian chasing, but then you've got also the lovely mix of.
I think what will happen is Samoa Joe will win it at the pay-per-view following Evolution. I think, which I think will be Survivor Series. No, Survivor Series will be November. Whichever one it is in December, the pay-per-view that will happen at the beginning of December. Joe will win it. There will be some. So at the Royal Rumble, we'll see AJ in his rematch clause, and we'll see Brian get entered in for that because they won't put Brian in the Rumble to get jobbed out again. They'll just have a fucking shit fit on their
We've got to have Elimination Chamber at some point, I think, don't we?
After that's No Way Out now. Elimination Chamber is in between Mania and the Rumble now. I think the Miz will win the Rumble.
Why? I don't see why not.
I think the Miz will win the Rumble, and I think Daniel Bryan will win at Elimination Chamber. I think that will then go into that feud at Mania, and it'll be those two.
So you're saying Bryan will be champion going into Mania?
I think they'll put Bryan. I think they'll put the belt on Bryan to have him drop it to the Miz at Mania. Because I think that they could do a month with Bryan with the belt, but no wrestling.
But over that 9 months, okay. If we continue our fantasy booking and move them together.
Right, okay, we are going to have AJ Styles and Samoa Joe Hell in a Cell. That thing is going to happen. Yeah. That thing is a beautiful
piece of work there. Probably you're looking at.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
actually, I've just given myself a bit of a shiver up the back. Actually, the idea of Samoa Joe in a Hell in a Cell. Jesus Christ! I don't want to be in the city.
Survivor Series is going to be Team Styles versus Team Reigns.
Yeah,
that's what that's going to be because they're building Survivor Series as the big Raw versus SmackDown thing. Then we've got the Australian thing after Hell in a Cell, which they won't do any title changes in Australia. They'll probably do an Intercontinental one. They'll do a title change, but not a big one.
See Saudi Arabia for details, everybody.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Then we'll have Evolution, which is the women only, so nothing there. Then we'll have whatever the December pay-per-view is going to be.
The December to remember.
Yeah. We'll call it that for the moment. And that will be... I think that'll be where Styles loses the belt to Joe there in December.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see the rematch. It'll either be a one-on-one rematch or it'll be some dodgy rules things, or there'll be a triple threat thing. It'll be either Miz or Bryan in a triple threat with Joe and Styles at the Rumble. The other one of Bryan and the Miz is in the Rumble and wins it. Okay, now the reason we have either Bryan or Miz in that championship spot is because it flows into the Elimination Chamber, because you'll probably see Joe retain at the Rumble in the triple threat by the means to, because there's no disqualification rules and he'll just destroy everybody. And then we'll see it at the Chamber. Whoever's in there out of Bryan or Miz will win that, and that'll go into that feud with them at Mania to finish that feud. And then we'll see a blood match between Joe and Styles, because Joe will call his and this is why it makes sense for Miz to win at Elimination Chamber, because Joe will claim his rematch clause the next night on SmackDown, thinking, I'm not dealing with this, I'm just going to smash him into the ground one-on-one, and then the Miz will be dirty with Maurice or whatever, and he'll pull out the win, and just means that, or like Styles will interfere to cause Joe the match. That then leads into that blood feud at Mania. And then we have Bryan and The Miz because the other ones won the Rumble, and they'll go into Mania for that as well.
If you look at that foursome, it's great just for all the matches you can have, because you've got two faces, two heels. The two faces are very high performance athletes, very competitive. You could see them having a thing against each other. You have a intense, physically dominant, dangerous heel who will get right in your face and is very good in promo. You also have a conniving, cowardly heel who is also very good in promo. All these guys can cut promos, and all these guys could have beef against each other. You could have the two faces against each other. You could have the two heels against each other because they are the different mentalities, and they all can mix really nicely. Well, I'm pretty certain we already had like somewhere like a Miz AJ battle that was actually really good. There's scope there. There's scope there for all of them. Please give us that.
Yeah.
We're quite happy with this.
I think with that foursome, we could see a resurgence of them all fighting for the belt, similar to what we had with Rock, Triple H, Austin, Taker. Like, they are four people of that caliber on the mic and in the ring. That's how good I think those four could be. And those four fighting over a belt for SmackDown for the next 9 months would be fucking amazing. And then you add into the fact that you'll have Becky demolishing the shit out of Charlotte Flair. That's going to be quality to watch. SmackDown's probably going to be the show to watch for a while. It really is.
Well, it will be when all the money starts flowing, yeah.
Yeah, and, well, let's just hope that the stars do align and this actually comes into fruition, because frankly, we all know it's too good to be true.
Well, we think better than WWE Creative half the time. All fantasy bookers think better than WWE Creative because they think of the best things that will work and the best things that will draw money. We all know AJ versus Joe is a money match. We all know Miz and Bryan is a money match. We all know sticking all those four in the ring and all competing for the title is money. It's just making sure they do it properly. Now,
well,
all four of those people will go, what am I doing? And then they'll turn around and go, cool, we'll take this idea and then we'll do this with it. You know? Because all four of those people, I think maybe Joe less so, will have Vince McMahon's ear and Vince will listen to the change they want to do. Now, Vince is less there on the WWE side because he's doing more of the XFL stuff and Triple H is there. And Triple H is more likely to bend an ear. As long as Triple H thinks that it will work and they can pull it off, and I think Triple H is more likely to listen to Joe rather than Vince is, they could pull off what they want to do and do it well, because I have a feeling the finish for that match with the chair was more their thinking rather than a creative idea.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
anyway,
we'll just have to wait and see.
We'll wait and see. We've done well in calling some stuff previously. So... so we will see. But that is, I'm going to say, the end of part 1. So my thanks to all of you for joining us. Please do, if you're watching this on the YouTube, like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all this. I know everyone says that, but it does help us. Also, if you're already a subscriber, I know there's loads of you. Please do click that notification bell. Because
join the notification squad.
Join the notification squad.
I want to see all the hashtag notification squad in the comments below.
Ding ding.
Join the ability to actually know when your subscribed channel has actually put something out, because YouTube are awful. But please do that. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this on the MP3/iTunes version, thank you very much indeed. But for now, that's the end of part 1. We'll be back in part 2 whenever that shall be. And from Mr. Pete Titans Queen Nevercoat, from Mr. John Turbo Finley, And from myself, Kevin Ewart, we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you very soon.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.